Yes, people. Now, you may or may not know this, but growing up, it was universally accepted that Americans were generally a stupid populace. Now, I don't say this to be insulting, but it was generally and universally accepted that Americans were pretty thick. Particularly us in Europe, we looked at Americans as people who didn't really understand the world outside of American shorelines and the American coastlines. And this was constantly reinforced in the media that Americans had terrible knowledge of global geography, terrible knowledge of global politics, a awful understanding of history outside of America, and just generally were pretty dumb. Now, unfortunately, and this is not me being insulting, because you can obviously extrapolate yourself from this if you don't see yourself as a stupid American. I don't think most Americans are. But unfortunately, the vocal Americans are only getting even more dumb. And I think this latest troll job, which kind of preys on this stereotypical American stupidity, probably now being exemplified and amplified by the fact that the modern alt-right / red pill rights, the MAGA, might as well just call them that, are a caricature of this very dull and simple-minded American caveman, and it's just getting worse. But this latest troll, I know I'm a bit late to hop on this, but I did want to just kind of touch on this latest troll job that the American media has done, knowing that the average Trump far-right American voter, these kind of this alt-right group, isn't very smart. And these are the ones who like to obviously point the finger at everybody, calling everyone low IQ. Oh, you're low IQ, low IQ, these low IQ idiots. But this troll job proves to you the average IQ of the average alt-right, average right-wing MAGA voter. So anyway, let's get into it, because this is hilarious.
And what has to be one of the greatest troll jobs in recent memory, right-wing minds are exploding over the news that Zoran Mamdani is set to introduce Arabic numerals into elementary schools. Oh no. So in this video, I'm going to go over some of the incredible reaction. Both people that fell for it, including a prominent Trump influencer or Trump advisor, but also people that are just making fun of how stupid this is, and the people that fell for it, how stupid they are. So this gets to where this stems from, and that is Brian Krasenstein on Twitter writing, breaking, Zoran Mamdani is expected to require all New York elementary school students to learn Arabic numerals. As a Jewish American, I still support this 100%.
So he knew what he was doing there. This guy, it's a troll. And I don't often support kind of like these democratic, I don't know, but this guy could be, I'm not going to make any assumptions about his political affiliations. Let's just call him a Jewish American, because that's what he called himself. But this was brilliant, because he knew exactly what he was doing, and he knew exactly how he was playing these people into this. What's actually quite funny? I've mentioned the fact that I used to live in the Middle East, and in the Middle East, they don't actually use Arabic numerals. So it's funny because they use the Arabic alphabet and the Arabic script, obviously, but they don't use Arabic numerals. They use Indian numerals. So it's really weird, because in the Middle East, the Arabs use Indian numerals, and in the West, the Europeans who use the Latin script use Arabic numerals. So I find that's quite funny. But still, this is great. Let's just play on.
Now, as expected, we'll get to some of the replies that are just hilarious. But so we're all on the same page here. Arabic numerals are simply the digits 0 to 9. They're called Arabic numerals because the system was transmitted to Europe through medieval Arabic scholars. 0 to 9. That's
also, I'm gonna, me, I'm a black historian, so I'm gonna throw in my conspiracy theory here. What we need to do is we need to uncover in a bit more detail, take a fine-tooth comb out of the things that actually did come from the Middle East and come from Arabia versus the things that came from the Arabic world, which was which essentially was Southern Europe, North Africa, and Western Asia. All of these places used Arabic script, extensively. And a lot of education during that time was coming from Africa. And when I say North Africa, I'm talking about literally the Sahara, the Sahel, and the Maghrebi region. So we're talking about kind of like all of like that top region of Africa. And we know that the largest university historically, right up until modern times, was the University of Timbuktu, which housed 25,000 students and had a city that essentially was a university. And they were responsible for very, very large amounts of book printing. They produced more books in a single year than the entire continent of Europe produced right up until the development of the printing press. When it came to the development of manuscripts, knowledge used to flow in heavy, 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 heavy waves from Africa into the European continent. Africa produced far more, exponentially more writing than the continent of Europe produced. And so I find when we have these discussions about where things originated from, no one's ever postulating that in spite of it being written in Arabic script, something could have originated on the African continent. So I thought I'd just throw that out because it's just an important side note. Anyway, let me let this play on.
Why? People are freaking out. So, no, they're freaking out because they're racist. Let's be honest. They have no idea what Arabic numerals actually are. It sounds scary. So you're getting reactions like this. Greg, what is the educational purpose? Ryan, I would say the building blocks of math. Braden, and by the way, a lot of these people have followings. It isn't just like randos on Twitter or, no-name people. Braden has 15,000 followers here. No, they can go to the Middle East for that. They could, but why would they do that when they can learn them here as well? Palm, who has, I think, 57,000 followers. Kids can barely read. We need this. Why? Because it's important for their education. So Polymarket took...
See, I have to say, Brian, he's kind of like on my time when it comes to his level of trolling. He's just going to keep reeling them in with these one-liner comments. He's going to bring them in. Some people would have just gone straight to him. Well, you idiot, they're the same thing. But he's just kind of like, continuing to poke the bear as these morons get their knickers in a twist. It's brilliant.
Brian's post and reposted it themselves. Polymarket is a betting site. Not really sure the purpose of this. I guess, just for their own engagement on Twitter here, but so they posted the same thing. Vision couldn't be more correct. Comments are going to be a huge IQ reveal. So before I get to some of the other people losing their minds, let's get to some funny reactions. Andrew here. It gets worse. He's saying they have to start with non-binary numbers. Incredible. Jerry, just wait until they hit high school and they teach them the ways of the terrorist organization known as algebra.
Maybe I'm being too critical.
So ridiculous. No signal here writing red state grade school students in 2028 when they ban Arabic numerals and they have to figure out what XLVI plus XXI means in math class.
And that is why we don't use Latin numerals, okay? Because these are the Latin numerals, by the way. And that's why we don't use them. It's quite funny, actually. Once again, going on my history thing, the Latin alphabet descends directly to the Etruscan and the Greek alphabet, which descends from the Phoenician alphabet, which descends directly from hieroglyphics. So actually, all of the writing that you see in Europe is owed to Africa. Okay, it's owed to in Africa. And according to Diodorus Siculus, you may or may not want to know this. According to Diodorus Siculus, the Egyptians learned their writing from the Ethiopians or the Cushites. So hieroglyphics, according to the ancient historians, originated in Central Africa, was inherited by Africans or East Africans, the ancient Egyptians, and then was passed into Europe by the merchant traders called the Phoenicians along the Mediterranean, and evolved into what you have today, which is the Latin script. But the origination point is Africa. So yeah, just a little bit of a side note there.
Yeah, I would fail. So Tom Parkin here. along the same lines. LVI percent of Americans don't want Arabic numerals taught in schools. This is actually a real poll. 56% of people, this is from 2019, 56% of Americans don't want Arabic numerals taught in schools. So this is a poll from Civic Science, an American market research company. What the CEO of the company is calling, quote, the saddest and funniest testament to American bigotry we've ever seen in our data. It really is incredible. So another screenshot here of some of the reactions. What? Is anyone surprised? Didn't think so. The Islamification of New York begins. Oh, why?
The modern education system stems back to Timbuktu. It was in Timbuktu, they were the first to hand out what we call the modern secular degrees. Before then, all universities and education systems were religious. So in Christian nations, all education was linked to the Christian religion. And in Islamic nations, all education was linked to Islam. So everything was about making you a more effective Christian or Muslim. The first nation to teach secular subjects like philosophy, like mathematics, like X, Y, and Z was Timbuktu. They introduced the idea of secular subjects and secular degree system. And that degree system, which we have today, was inherited from Africa. But that's an aside. The point being, our modern education system is not the brainchild of Europe, okay? It's a brainchild of back in the day when this used to be a more globally inclusive world. We used to take good ideas from different parts of the world, be it the Middle East, be it Africa. But the problem is, you've been taught to believe that everything originated in Europe, and that just isn't the case. Europeans were barely writing when Africa, and to a lesser degree, Asia, was producing hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions of manuscripts annually. This is a fact, okay? These are researchable facts. None of this is hyperbole. None of this is exaggerated. You can look into this yourself. It's just very sad we live in a world now where everyone believes everything started in Europe when it's just so far from the truth.
So Ada Lech, this is a prominent Spanish right-wing influencer. Almost 500,000 followers here on Twitter. How long until the call to prayer is broadcast from Times Square every morning? So here she is photoed with Trump, and her husband even proposed to her because of Donald Trump. So she has a long story here about how Trump called her beautiful and told her husband, oh, if you don't marry this woman, you're crazy. So he proposed to her, they got married, and 6 months later, they divorced. So the Donald Trump blessing.
In my mind, there could be nothing more unattractive than a far right-wing racist woman. That must just make a female so ugly. So ugly. Imagine her just waking up angry every morning and just spewing, you know. I'm the political one in my house, yeah. And I can't even imagine a situation where, you know, you have to wake up to that kind of venom towards people you've never met. And obviously this guy could only put up with it for 6 months. You know, she could be the best looker in the world, but bloody hell, he's like, I'm out of here, man. You're flipping psychopath.
It's important to acknowledge how prominent and accepted bigotry is when it's against Muslims. So Joey Manarino, again, her ex-husband, when Zoran Mamdani goes to the White House, they need to treat him as a national security threat. He needs to get a special inspection as if he is a member of ISIS. This man very well could have a suicide vest strapped onto his chest and pull it right in the oval. Remember, he's a jihadist first and foremost. Like, this level of bigotry was not allowed on Twitter before Elon Musk took over. Twitter was a place where you could actually have conversations that, you know, still got crazy sometimes, but
no doubt, Twitter is an absolute cesspool and a dumping ground. People keep asking me to get active on my Twitter account. Obviously, for those of you who don't know, I've got a relatively large YouTube following. If I add up my channel server, 100,000, which is not too bad. But it's not obviously massive. But people keep telling me get on Twitter because, you know, obviously they want to hear my opinions on certain things, and I literally can't stomach it. I'll be on there for 30 seconds and I start feeling little pangs of suicide. Like I'm like, I need to get out. That place is disgusting. There's absolutely, I can't do it. I can't engage it. So I will get a Twitter account, but I'm just letting you guys know that when my Twitter account does appear, it's probably not going to be me managing it, because I haven't got the stomach. I have to pay someone to engage with that kind of negativity. Those kind of things, I don't think you should be opening your mind to that degree of ignorance that you get on Twitter.
It didn't get racist and xenophobic and bigoted like this, because when posts like this came up, they were deleted. Now people are able to develop entire followings based on being a piece of shit.
Yeah.
So, I have a hard time believing this guy even believes anything he's writing here. He's doing it because of the engagement that he's able to get and the career he's able to make off of it.
It's the ultimate grift now. Elon Musk has made it so being racist is now a very viable vocation. It's a grift. Okay, I'm going to be particularly against black people, by the way. He said, racism against Muslims will only get you so far, but the difference between Muslims and black people is when you race against Muslims, you will get pushback. There is a large Muslim community, and they don't just really allow people to say any and everything they like against them. They'll come together, they'll form a, and they'll come for people who are, look what Khabib done to Conor McGregor. They jumped him in the crowd, they beat him up, and even now to this day, Conor's crew can't turn up to certain events because they get stomped out. Yeah, because Muslims in general, I know there's a Dagestanis in there, like the frigging creme de la creme of violence, but it's still the same principle. I kind of feel like there's a little bit more cohesion and a little bit more we're on code when it comes to the Muslim community. Black people are too forgiving, we're too nice, and so people can just say what they want. I was literally just about to upload a video about Ryan Garcia, and the fact that everyone's just forgotten the fact that he said he wants to unalive every single black person, and he says he wants to bring George Floyd back from the dead so he can unalive him again. I mean, like, the most radically racist thing that anyone could ever say, and he said it. He was just like, literally like, watch this, I'm gonna say the worst thing I can think of, and watch this, I'm not even gonna apologize, and watch this, they're gonna forgive me anyway. That's how little respect he has for us as a community. We need to check ourselves. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because there needs to be consequences, because you have these places now where people just make a grift. That's it. Make some easy money by being racist and against black people. And there's going to be it's not even like back in the day, back in the 90s, the early noughties, people were there to be like, watch your P's and Q's. You couldn't just be like loose with your tongue around black people. You know what I'm saying? We talk, brother, you mad? Now people are just well loose of it, because I'm not being funny, but a lot of them are not on nothing. You know what I mean? They're on forgiving people too much. Everyone's on this very selfish, I got to make my personal bag and I'm not going to ruin my opportunities. And it all stems back to kind of like, it's just that craving for money, which has made black people weak. Because the first thing black people started to do was disrespect our women, be like, I don't like black women, this, that, and the other. And it's all a part of that same, it's all threads that are part of the same basket. Essentially, where we're just not standing on business. You know what I mean? Everyone's just trying to independently and selfishly make their bag, and it doesn't matter. Like they'll spit on the black community. They'll make negative media about the black community. Will perpetuate negative stereotypes. Anything to say, well, boy, like, I just have to make money in it. Like, at the end of the day, like, I don't mind. Like, I'll make up. Like, at the end of the day, if he's telling me like I gotta just do this in the film, I'm gonna do it, because at the end of the day, I gotta make my money. Like like we're all trying to make a bag out of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't trying to struggle for too long. You know what I'm saying? This is where it leads to. Now you got no respect. How you like that? Now you got no respect. You got no respect on road. Everyone thinks you're an idiot. You know what I mean? That's what you asked for.
I have a hard time believing this guy even believes anything he's writing here. He's doing it because of the engagement that he's able to get and the career he's able to make off of it. It's gross. Now, a prominent Donald Trump advisor, Laura Loomer, also fell for this. This is a screenshot. Things are bad when you can't tell if it's real or a joke. Dear God, it's real, isn't it? She ended up deleting that to
under his employ of idiots that are falling for it. Oh man, I tell you, the average right winger is really stupid. One thing that at least is being proven is that race, like one thing I think everyone now globally can agree, racists are stupid. And that kind of makes me also realize that our biggest problem actually, for the past God knows how long, has been the liberals. Yeah, the liberals, the liberal left. They have been, when I say our, I'm talking about black people. Our biggest problem has been them, because there's no way what's been taking place has been manufactured under the stupidity, which is the modern right winger, your average kind of like outright wear my heart on my sleeve racist. They are dumb. They are so stupid. So I know that everything that's being manufactured has been coming from this new liberal left, and they've been the biggest problem for black progress. You know, obviously them and that country in the Middle East.
To post this, you know things are bad when you can't tell if it's real or a joke with winky faces. Like I got it, guys. I wasn't fooled. No, you clearly were, because you deleted this tweet. But
she tried to cover her back. Idiot.
This is somebody who has prominent influence with Donald Trump. A political activist who has spread conspiracy theories and used hate speech, has become a central figure in the hirings and firings of Trump staffers. Laura Loomer has successfully lobbied to remove aides in several key government roles, including the National Security Council, and has described Islam as a quote-unquote cancer, used the hashtag Proud Islamophobe, and once seemed to celebrate the deaths of migrants crossing the Mediterranean.
That's wild. Don't know how proof there is on that last claim, but calling Islam a cancer, no doubt she's Christian and doesn't have any problems with that terrorist religion, but has a problem with Islam. And then saying proud Islamophobe, I mean, it's like, what's there to be proud of there, you know? I don't know. Yeah, you know what? I might part two this. There's a lot more good humor to come out of this one, but I think it's gone on long enough, and I've shared what I wanted to share. Just good to see a little bit of clever humor and share with the world how low the average IQ of a racist is. I mean, there's nothing bad that can come from that, is there? Catch you guys on the next one. Peace.